You can take this how you want, but it is a cold, hard fact. These HBCUs, they love their football and they are excited about it as anybody else. In this life, there are certain people that have this aura, they have that moxie, the swagger that I absolutely love and I can't get enough of. And maybe some of you are the exact same way. Maybe you have that favorite basketball player, football player, or head coach that you absolutely love. Or not really love, that was a bad word to use. It's more so of you admire them and respect them. You like how they do things, you like how they carry themselves, and for me, that person is Deion Sanders, aka Prime Time. I say it in every single video I talk about him, and I will continue to say it. What an unreal job he's doing at Jackson State, even though, yeah, I think he gets the credit he deserves. He deserves 10 times that. He's a leader of men, and that is why I like him so much. His leadership skills are so underrated. Yes, he was an outstanding college football player. He was an outstanding NFL player, and most people will remember him for that. But I think when it's all said and done, I'm going to remember him for how he's currently coaching. To say that Mr. Deion Sanders is well-spoken, that would be an understatement. And whoa, hold on. I'm not just talking about on the field or football topics. I'm talking about off the field and real-life knowledge. If you don't want to believe me or take my word for it, if you have Twitter, go to his Twitter and just look at what he says and tweets out almost every day. That's why I like him so much, because he's a leader. Not just a leader, but a true leader at that. He reminds me a lot of Nick Saban, and I know I may catch some heat for that, but that's what I firmly believe. And you know I'm going to speak my mind on this channel. We'll talk about the Nick Saban comparison a little later in this video. The main reason we're making this video is because Deion Sanders, the man, the myth, the legend himself, just did the impossible, and I can't believe it. The worst part about this is I should be mad at myself because I should have saw this coming. I should believe it. I think it's awesome, but I don't speak for everybody, and a lot of people out there are pissed off and furious about this. I think a nice way to say this is they're not too fond of this decision, and they're not happy. We've got a lot to talk about and get into. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited as well. As always, we're on the road to 300K. Can't get there without your help. So if you do like football content, why not subscribe? It's free. You can always unsub later. All right, Matt, blah, blah, blah. Shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, that was weak. Let's get into it. That's better. First things first, I got to address this because I had a few people sending me it, and I was like, well, this is interesting. So Brent Venables, the new head coach for Oklahoma. I'm sure most of you know him. He was a former defensive coordinator for Clemson. Apparently, he's on the hot seat. Me, personally, I don't think he's on the hot seat. Oklahoma, they've made it clear they're going to give him at least a couple years to figure things out. Although it's been a very rough season for Oklahoma up to this point, I don't think he's on the hot seat, so I do want to address that. But also earlier today, Brent Venables stated this, and I found it rather interesting. We have an opportunity to win every game and lose every game. It's going to take everybody to be totally committed to do their best. This team will be remembered for how they finish. I just found it funny because, yeah, theoretically speaking, you do have an opportunity to win and lose every single game. That's just common knowledge. It's the last part of that statement that caught my attention. He's right 100%. This Oklahoma team, although it's been bad, they will be remembered for how they finished the season. Let's say for the sake of this video, they win out or only lose one game. I think Oklahoma fans, they'll be pretty happy going into next year. On the contrary, if it's bumpy, if you lose 2 or 3 more games, it's not going to be good. Momentum's a real thing. You don't want to end the year bad even though it started out bad. You want to end it on a good note. And also, you want to win out because that'll help you in recruiting. Do want to talk about that real briefly. Moving on to our main topic, the main encore. The main reason you clicked onto this video, we got to talk about primetime. You know what? Cut the BS. I'm jumping straight into it. College football fans are not happy because College Game Day announced that they're coming to the Jackson State game this Saturday. Jackson State is hosting Southern, and when I saw this, I thought it was a joke because if you have Twitter, you know there's so many trolls and fake accounts. I didn't think it was real, but come to find out it is. I'm going to be brutally honest, and I want to be 100% transparent with all of you because I think I owe you guys that. I don't really watch Game Day as much as I used to when I was a kid. The past 3, 4, 5 years, I found myself watching it less and less every Saturday, and now I don't even watch it at all. I may throw it on the TV screen while I'm working on some other stuff, watching some film in the background, but I don't care to watch it. You know how it was 10 or 15 years ago? I don't know if it was better, maybe it's gotten worse. It just felt different 15 years ago. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it wasn't better 10 or 15 years ago. Maybe I just grew up and I don't like it anymore. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'm actually curious. Regardless of how I feel about it, I know there's many other fans that deeply care. A lot of these fans want Game Day to come to their school. They want them to pick their school because it is a great honor. With that being said, it's not like a school got snubbed of Game Day. We only had 2 top 25. Actually, we had 3 top 25 matchups. One of those being Kentucky and Tennessee. Game day just went to Knoxville, so of course they're not going to go back. And we also had Oklahoma State and Kansas State. Does anybody care about Oklahoma and Kansas State outside of those states? Not really. And also we had Ohio State and Penn State, which I thought they'd go anywhere, it would be that game. However, you got to remind yourself, Penn State, yeah, they're in the top 15, but they're not really that good, and nobody thinks Ohio State and Penn State's going to be a close game. Also got to throw in there, Ohio State and Michigan's going to play, and more than likely, game day will be at that one. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I knew game day was going to go to Jackson State, because this was the last thing I expected, but when it was announced and I started looking at all the other games and matchups, I was like, hey, why not? I don't have a problem with it. But, and I have a big but, I got to remind y'all, I don't really care about game day that much. So as a person who doesn't worship game day that much, I'm sitting there going, yeah, that sounds awesome. I don't know if game day's ever been to Jackson State. Maybe they have. I really don't know. But I think a lot of people show up, and that's awesome for the HBCUs. You can take this how you want, but it is a cold, hard fact. These HBCUs, they love their football, and they are excited about it as anybody else. I'm telling you right now, Jackson State is going to be rocking on Saturday. But here's why I say Deion Sanders did the impossible. Do you really and honestly even for a second believe College Game Day would have considered going to a Jackson State game if Deion Sanders wasn't there? No! And let me remind you, the only reason they're going to this game is because of Deion Sanders. I mean that in the most respectful way possible. I'm not trying to disrespect the HBCUs, but come on now, you know that's a fact. What Deion Sanders has done for Jackson State and all the HBCUs at this point is legendary. He has essentially put Jackson State, who is relatively a nobody in the grand schemes of college football, onto the map, and everybody knows who they are. Or maybe not everybody, but if you keep up with college football and you hear the name Jackson State, you know who it is. I'm from the Southeast, most of you know this, I'm from Alabama, so I'm relatively familiar with the HBCUs. I'm actually only a couple hours away from Jackson State. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to enlighten you on this. The culture they have and the love they have for football is just like any other big-time D1 program like in Alabama or Ohio State. They may not have the big name brand and as many overall fans, but it's still great football to watch. The only reason the HBCUs are still slightly behind your big Power 5 programs is because they're not getting all these 4- and 5-star recruits. They simply don't have the athletes to compete with the Alabamas of the world. If you don't want to take my word for that, Deion Sanders has literally said that himself. It's not me hating, it's not me throwing shade, it's just cold hard facts. Like I said, Deion Sanders said that. Anyways, long story short, I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. I could rant and rave on it for 30 more minutes, but the other vast majority of fans are not happy. Check out some of these comments. This person replied, well, no one's going to be watching game day. LOL, have fun with 10,000 fans that show up for this game. And that got over 100 likes. So you know what that tells me as a person who keeps up with Jackson State? That person's an idiot, and there's also 100 other idiots out there. You know why I call that person an idiot? Not because of his opinion saying that no one's going to watch game day. Maybe they do lose viewership, but here's the part where I know he doesn't know anything about football. Jackson State can hold up to 50,000 people in their stadium. I may be wrong on this since last time I checked, correct me in the comment section. I think they can hold up to 55,000 people. But hey, yeah, you're right. Only 10,000 people are going to show up. Under that comment, another one. So College Game Day is going to be lame this week, huh? And somebody replied, an HBCU game is lame? Where are you from? Idaho? And that's what I'm talking about. A lot of people don't realize and understand HBCU fans, they get lit out there. All right. I know that sounded corny. Who says lit anymore in 2022? But you get what I'm trying to say. Here's an interesting one. Somebody said, why are you not going to the game with more talent and much better atmosphere? Ken the Great responded, better atmosphere? You've obviously never been to a HBCU, and I can tell. The atmosphere at HBCU is 10 times better than one at a PWI. Don't hate on something you've never experienced before. I really like that one, and I'm going to read off a couple more. I can't read them all, but if you want to check them out, go to Twitter yourself. Aaron responded, and this got over 300 likes. I've seen Texas, USC fight in LA, felt Death Valley shake at LSU, saw the Cotton Bowl split, witnessed Bama, Clemson, Georgia, them all. None, he said, none of it compares to 1 hour before kickoff at Boombox in Jackson. Sorry I'm laughing, I'm just getting chills reading it. He describes it so well. Southern and Jackson State deserve this more than any rival game in the nation. What do y'all think about that? There's plenty of other hate comments out there of people just spewing nonsense of how this is a stupid move of game day to go there and nobody's going to watch. Like I said earlier, I don't watch game day regardless, so it wouldn't have mattered where they went. I'm still not going to tune in. But for the people that watch it all the time, are you still going to watch this week? Let us know in the comments. I would love to know all of your opinions. And last but not least, I got to say this about Deion. I'm a Bama fan, and what I'm about to say, it's a bold statement. I get it. But if Nick Saban announced today he's retiring, you know who I want to replace him? Deion Sanders. I think he's a great leader, and you have to be that when you want to be a head football coach, especially at the University of Alabama. I think him and Saban have the same mentality, and they are very similar and alike. I know the argument that all these Bama fans and everyone else are going to say, well, Matt, he hasn't proven himself and blah, 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 blah. He's at Jackson State. Yeah, he's winning there, but he's not playing competition. I see where you're coming from, but at one point in every person's life, they weren't proven. At one point in time, Nick Saban wasn't proven himself. At one point in time, people didn't think Saban was going to be the greatest coach of all time. So here's my announcement to all these other big-time brands. If you're wanting Deion Sanders to quote-unquote prove himself, by the time he proves himself, it's going to be too late. By the time he quote-unquote proves himself, it might be beating your team. I'm very curious, so let me know your thoughts down below, but